Always great to have Ian Castleberry joining the Wise Guys, of course, for our NFL Gold Nuggets feature presented by David Creasman and DC Creasman Jewelers at 269 Tunnel Road. Ian, how you doing today, friend?
I'm doing well. I'm not on the golf course, but that's probably because I don't play golf.
Well, you know what? I would say Stan's having a better day than you, but we don't know how Stan's playing on the golf course, so it's possible he might not be having as good a day as you, but
right.
we'll find out soon enough, buddy. It's great to have you and Ian. The NFL schedule is going to be released tonight, but as always, as the NFL is apt to do, and they tease it so well, they've given us a couple of games to chew on, including Week 10 as Mike McCarthy takes the Cowboys and returns to Lambo, where he won a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Boy, it doesn't seem like 12, 13 years ago, but it pretty much was. And then, of course, Mahomes visiting Brady and the Bucs, a rematch of the Super Bowl just a few years ago. So what do you think of, though, Ian, that there's going to be 3 NFL games on Christmas Day, and I think they say the Rams and the Broncos are going to be one. That'll be the 4:30 game. But they're going to have a 1 o'clock, 4:30, and I think an evening game. But the NBA has that, they love to do that triple header, and they've been doing that to success for years. Should the NBA be worried that the NFL's ho-ho-hoing on their territory?
Oh, the NBA should be terrified. I mean, for the NBA, Christmas is kind of the unofficial opening to the season. Like, a lot of fans don't start watching the NBA or aren't aware it's going on until Christmas Day because they've had Christmas Day to themselves. But NFL explicitly barging in on Christmas, but it's difficult to blame them, and I think it'll be extremely successful. People love watching football. Families will be there to watch football together. The Broncos-Rams telecast is also going to have an alternate telecast, the Nickelodeon alternate telecast that they've been doing the past 2 years for the wild card playoff. I think that's a great idea. I mean, you have families together, kids are there watching football. I don't know how many listeners or you've have watched that Nickelodeon telecast, but it's a lot of fun. I mean,
have not.
It's geared toward kids, but it's a lot of fun and shows you what you don't always have to take football so seriously. And in Week 16, that could be a big game between the Broncos and Rams, but it's all meant in good fun. I do feel bad for the NBA to get hijacked by the NFL here, but the NFL rules everything, and they love to show it.
It's interesting. The NFL has been doing a triple header on Thanksgiving Day to great success. Pretty much, gosh, who knows how long. I mean, as long as I was a kid watching those triple headers back in the day, the Redskins and the Cowboys. That was always the one I looked forward to. It makes me wonder what took the NFL so long to see how Christmas is going to work out, Ian.
Yeah, I think it depends on the schedule, of course. If Christmas is on a Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, this year it works out. I don't think we're always going to see this on Christmas Day, depending on what day of the week it's on. But, it fell in perfectly this year, Christmas being on a Sunday. And they don't have to make any allowances for college football or any. I mean, it's solidly it's week 16 on the schedule. So I mean, the NFL was going to be playing anyway. It's just it's bad fortune for the NBA this year.
Yeah, I'm sure Adam Silver, NBA commissioner, is like, please just let it be this year. Please let it just be this year. And it probably will be. Yeah, the NFL is like, you know what? We're not moving our schedule for Christmas. We're gonna go with it. So yeah, but you never know, man. If it blows up, obviously you can't have NFL triple header on a Tuesday on a Christmas Day or Wednesday, as you point out.
Right.
But, hey, why not on the weekend? All right, Ian, let's move on to Tom Brady. He has a retirement plan. We just don't know when it's going to begin. But Fox Sports signs Tom Brady. Tommy Terrific to a blowout contract, 10 years, $370 million. He's getting $37 million a year for 10 years. And even as a broadcaster, Brady will be earning elite quarterback money. And Brady will be earning more than twice what Tony Romo was earning. I mean, is Fox out of its financial mind?
Well, I certainly think they are earning twice as much as Troy Aikman, too. Troy Aikman got a significant
Oh, that's
raise
right. He re-upped, yeah.
Going to ESPN for Monday Night Football. The money is just insane, and 10 years, and nobody has any idea whether he is going to be a good broadcaster. I mean, I think you can presume that he would be pretty good. You see him on social media, you see him in his commercials. He does seem to have a personality, but being a broadcaster is quite different. I mean, I think the money, as insane as it is, accomplishes two objectives. One, they make sure that Brady, definitely wanted to do this after retirement. They basically made him the offer he cannot refuse. And they've prevented him from going anywhere else. So we don't know how much longer Tom Brady's going to play, whether it's this coming season, one more, two more seasons after that. But they've locked him down, kind of like NBC did with Drew Brees. So there's not going to be any worry that, Amazon could go after Tom Brady, or ESPN probably won't now that they have Monday Night Football locked up, or CBS. Or I think I would have expected something like this from Amazon, because Amazon really needs to make a splash. They really need to move the needle. But, there is some uncertainty as to whether or not Brady would have been worth that much money. But I wouldn't have been surprised if Amazon made an offer like this. But now Brady, he's going to be in the postseason as well. It's a weird situation for Fox, because let's say this is 1 to 2 years down the line, and they've already said Tom Brady's going to be on the number one team with Kevin Burkhardt. Okay, but who's Kevin Burkhardt with this coming season and maybe next season? All signs point to Greg Olsen, who he's been paired with in past seasons. Last season, I think, was the first time they were full-time. And Fox has the Super Bowl this year. So, you're putting on a crew on the Super Bowl that you're basically saying is temporary until Tom Brady retires.
You brought up my next question. I was just going to, as you were talking, I was thinking about the fact that, Tony Romo is to me the best analyst, followed closely by Troy Aikman. Ironically, they're both former Cowboys quarterbacks, if you're listening, Dak Prescott, for a post-career move. But what's interesting on this, Ian, is that, Tony Romo has a great rapport with Jim Nantz. Troy Aikman has a great rapport with Joe Buck. No matter what you think of those two play-by-play guys, they're the best in the business. But there is that chemistry, I think, that makes it work for both those guys, Ian. And that's my concern is, are we going to get the Tom Brady that's a stiff at press conferences in New England? Or are we going to get the Tom Brady, who I hope we get, who was on the Manning cast? And the guy is chock full of knowledge, but that sense of humor, I hope that Tom Brady comes out. But again, as you pointed out, they're pairing him with a guy he's never worked with before. They're spending $37 million a year on a number one analyst, and Kevin Burkhardt is a very competent national broadcaster, but he's not Jim Nantz and he's not Joe Buck. So it seems to be a little bit uneven, this crew. And Ian, for the sake of Fox, I hope those guys can develop a chemistry very quickly.
Yeah, you wonder if they are going to work Burkhardt and Brady together somehow in the off season or in off weeks, just so they can develop a chemistry. Again, the money makes this just out of sight. But Fox is doing something that networks have always done. They've tried to get the biggest name. Who do they think can reach out to the casual fan, or maybe even the non-fan? There's some people who may not watch football, but they know who Tom Brady is, and they'll be curious to peek in. Is that worth $37 million a year for Fox? Maybe it is. There's also, reports that he's going to be doing more than broadcasting for Fox. He's going to be a brand ambassador, whatever that means. Maybe he's going to, reach out to sponsors or make presentations for the network or appear. Who knows? Maybe he'll be introducing The Simpsons or something like that. They're probably going to make him work for that $37 million. But the question, this has just been the craziest offseason for NFL broadcasters. And the question has been, do people tune in for the broadcasters? And you're going to watch Cowboys, Packers, no matter what, right? I mean, yes, a bad broadcasting crew can make watching a game like that less enjoyable, but fans are going to tune in anyway. So Brady, I guess, just has to be competent. He has to make sure he's better than, say, Jason Witten or Booger McFarland. And maybe he will be. You pointed out, I think you bring up a great point. The Tom Brady we have seen in Tampa Bay is much different from the Tom Brady we saw in New England. And I think Fox is banking or hoping, crossing their fingers, that they get Tampa Bay Tom Brady. Yeah,
I hope they talk to him about that. Yeah, we don't want New England. We want Tampa Bay. We want the Mannings. Someone that can bring that out, because he was, in my opinion, far and away the best guest. That was the best segment on a Manning broadcast that had many. All right, we'll see where it goes with Tommy Terrific, and hopefully Fox will be getting their money's worth. Oy vey. Ian Castleberry talks NFL Gold Nuggets Thursdays here with the Wise Guys on the DC Creasman Jewelers Wise Lines, and presented him by DC himself. DC Creasman Jewelers, your one-stop jewelry shop at 269 Tunnel Road. Well, this is interesting, Ian. Former Jacksonville kicker Josh Lambo suing the Jags over Urban Meyer's, what he said, creation of a volatile work environment. and the team did nothing to stop it. I remember Shad Khan's quote afterwards when he went, recently he was just like, who would want to work with that guy? I'm like, dude, where were you when all of this was going on? At least he did something about it, Ian, but Meyer's behavior has been well documented. So what damages is Lambo seeking here? Is it his reputation or is it a little more financial?
But he might be looking to restore his reputation. But basically, Lambo is seeking the $3.5 million that he would have been paid had he made the Jaguars, had he been on the roster during the 2021 season. And I think this is a curious case because, what constitutes a hostile work environment more than what a normal coach barking at players or a player worried about winning his job in training camp might be? Now, of course, we have this incident where Meyer kicked Lambo, allegedly, reportedly. I don't know if there were witnesses to the incident. There are also reports that Lambo and his agent and his lawyers approached the team about this, and the team claims that their lawyers were going to speak with Lambo about it. Lambo says that never happened, and then Lambo was cut shortly thereafter. Now, can Lambo prove that he was cut because he raised this issue with the team? If so, it seems like we would have a case here. But I do wonder, damages for emotional distress and so forth, how this goes above what he would normally experience while going through a regular training camp.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one. I mean, Urban Meyer is not the best human being. Shoop has told his personal story of Urban Meyer throwing him out of the quarterback's room at Florida when he was invited by Florida's quarterback's coach. And Shoop said, look, it wasn't about him throwing me out of the meeting. I get that if he doesn't want me there when they're talking maybe sensitive stuff, but it's the way he did it. He just says, get the hell out of here and shoot on his quarterback's coach. And Urban Meyer, it's funny, Ian, right? You just never know someone until you know someone. And Urban Meyer showed out last season, and that's the reason he's gone. But you're right. It's like, how do you look at that? I mean, are other players going to be called as witnesses, if you will, on this? What did other players think about this? So right now, I think Lambo's with the Steelers. I think he was on their practice squad last year. So we'll wait and see, man. $3.5 million. Plus, I think he's looking for attorney's fees. That's always big, man. Don't the attorney's fees. That's separate, man. You got to do that. Make sure, because they ain't cheap. Don't pay that out of if you win. Don't pay that out of your earnings, your winnings. Anyway, we'll see how this one plays out. Ian Castleberry on the DC Creasman Jewelers Wise Lines and our NFL Gold Nuggets feature presented by DC. All right, so Ian, former Panthers running back Mike Davis signs with the Ravens, and Ian, it looks like Davis's first purchase with his new money should maybe be an upgrade to his home security system.
Yeah, it might be. Mike Davis had $100,000 worth of jewelry and items stolen from his suburban Atlanta home. According to reports, he was alerted by his security system that two men had broken into his house. They were wearing hoods, they were wearing masks, they were armed with handguns. Yeah, does he need to upgrade his security system, or is this something that would have happened no matter what? Is this somebody that was familiar with the Davis home or the security setup, or obviously seemed to be aware that Davis was not home when they took these items, which, according to reports, 2 diamond necklaces, 2 Cartier bracelets, 4 tennis chains, and a Gucci handbag were the items stolen. Really, I don't know if he was just singled out. People are like, hey, current NFL player living in the neighborhood, so he must have some swag there in the house. So let's case the joint. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if anything can be pulled from that security footage. Is this somebody who knew Davis or was familiar? You always see things on TV like a cable crew or somebody or a cleaning operation, posing as something and really casing a potential target if it was something like that.
Yeah, I watch the FBI franchise. I know exactly what you're talking about there. And what's interesting again in all of this is that here's poor Mike Davis. I mean, the irony is that he signs the contract and then like the day or just before, all right around there, his home gets robbed. And of course they had to take the Gucci bag, man. They put all that jewelry in it. So I guess that kind of makes sense there. Poor Mike Davis. We know he'll recover, but still. Finally, Ian Castleberry, by the way, joining us via the DC Creasman Jewelers Wise Lines. Ian writes for Barrett Sports Media. Wide receivers Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, former teammates with the Browns, along with former Giants cornerback and former Panthers cornerback James Bradberry, are named free agents on the market. Bradberry just landing there. But Ian, let's start with Jarvis Landry. I'm surprised he's not signed with the team. Why do you think teams are holding out on him?
According to reports, Landry wants the big-time payday, and as we've seen this offseason, wide receivers are making big-time bucks. But Landry is more of a slot receiver. You know, he's not a wideout, necessarily a guy who's going to streak down the field and outrun the secondary. You know, he gets his catches in volume as a slot receiver. So reports are that he was seeking $20 million, that he turned down a $15 million offer from the Browns. And if that got around the league, teams don't want to sign a slot receiver for that much money. There are teams that are interested in Jarvis Landry, reportedly the Ravens and the Colts, but most contending teams not necessarily in need of a slot receiver. So Jarvis Landry's market is pretty small, and it's very small if he wants to be paid twice as much, at least, than NFL teams are willing to pay him right now.
Man, all right, so Landry's still kind of out there. How about OBJ? Does he return to the Rams?
All accounts seem to be that he is going to return to the Rams. And remember, he's recovering from a torn ACL, injured his knee in the Super Bowl. So he's not going to be ready until midseason, most likely. But the Rams, general manager Les Snead has said in the past that they want him back, even after they signed Allen Robinson. So they have Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, Van Jefferson. So presumably there's a spot there for OBJ, but it might come down to salary, too. How much are the Rams willing to pay OBJ when he's not going to be their number one receiver? And how much is OBJ looking for in a contract? So this probably will come down to money, but it still looks like a reunion with the Rams is coming.
All right, and finally, James Bradberry, again, former Panther, had a great career when he was there in his first 4 seasons. The Giants, of course, it looks like they're letting him go, Ian, for financial reasons, which that's good. He's in his prime. What market is out there for Bradberry?
There's a big-time market out there for James Bradberry. Still very productive, at 28 years old. Very good Panthers fans know, you know, he can play very well, cover the other team's top receiver. The Giants, I don't think they wanted to cut him, and it's a little bit curious that they did, because now their secondary is very thin. You know, they could use James Bradberry, but they cut him because they needed salary cap room, particularly to sign their draft class. So Bradberry's, I think it was $18 million salary with bonuses, created that salary cap room. The Giants tried to trade him. Reportedly, there was a deal set up with the Houston Texans, but Bradberry wanted a new contract if that deal was going to go through, and the Texans balked at that, so that deal fell through. But there are at least 5, maybe 6 teams that could be interested in James Bradberry. The Eagles, the Colts, the Raiders, the Chiefs. He would be a great fit with the Chiefs. The Ravens. I've seen the Commanders interested in James Bradberry. Personally, as a Lions fan, I wish the Lions would take a shot at him as well, but I think that salary might be a little bit too much for a Lions team that's still rebuilding.
Man, he nails it as always. Ian Castleberry with the Wise Guys with Barrett Sports Media. Thursdays talking NFL Gold Nuggets. Appreciate you, Ian, always, my friend. And, hey, have a great weekend. Enjoy.
Yeah, I hope the rest of the day goes well, and enjoy your week.
Yeah, you too. Appreciate you, Ian, very much, man. Ian Castleberry with the Wise Guys.